Novelty with S&B is a show about two sisters-in-law who share their love of books and tea.
Sometimes they read together, sometimes not. Sometimes horror, but mostly smut.
They review and recommend the books they've read and chat about other fun topics too.
Don't worry, they won't spoil anything, and if they do, they'll warn you.
Also be warned, this show is not for kids, or for anyone who might be offended by horror or sex talk, or both.
Looking at you, Mom.
Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Novelty with S&B, the book club with a podcast. I'm your co-host, Beck.
And I'm Stephanie.
Okay, so I was going to say, why do we do this to ourselves? But apparently, I'm the only one that is like
why
torturing
do you do this
myself.
To yourself?
Yeah. Because I read a lot of books, but you read a lot of well, not a lot of books, but the books you read were long as hell, dude.
Yeah, one in particular. Well, I only read 3 books. So I read Threads of Fate by C.A. Blooming. We both ended up reading Obedience, Volume 1 by Lizzie B. Brown. And lastly, but certainly, well, least, we both also dived into the never-ending, but always redundant, Heat of the Everflame. So I have some things to say about that one, and we'll get into that later. I don't know how you do it. You read a ton, so give us a list of your reads.
It's audiobooks is how it's done. I read Obedience as well, thanks to Lizzie B. Brown, our mutual acquaintance on TikTok. Thank you for gifting us that. I also read Neverwhere by Neil Gaiman, Glow of the Everflame, and Heat of the Everflame by Penn Cole. I also read Heir of Fire and Queen of Shadows and the Throne of Glass series by Sarah J. Maas.
Well, we both read 2 of the same book this time around, so why don't you start us off with Obedience?
Yeah, so this is actually the first book I even read this month. So, Obedience is, again, by Lizzie B. Brown, is 217 pages, and it was gifted to us. The summary is as follows. As an English professor at a private university, my life was near perfect. Yes, the female student body could be aggressive in their advances at times, but there was never any temptation, not when I had the high school sweetheart and the love of my life by my side. Well, one Monday in May, 3 little words changed everything. We are over. Janet cast me aside with no explanation or chance of closure. I was left broken, my confidence shattered. When my best friend Eddie dragged me to Florida for a summer away, I didn't put up a fight. It was a chance to lick my wounds and recover without running into the one who broke my heart. I had no way of knowing the trip would end with me on my knees in the bathroom worshiping a beautiful goddess, nor could I guess that indiscretion would have lost consequences that would forever change my world. Cassie was unyielding force who accepted nothing less than my full submission. Obedience is a age gap romance between a college professor and his student that was originally published on Kindle Vella. This volume is a collection of the first 24 episodes of an ongoing series. So when she kept commenting, like, I think when age gaps are done correctly, they're done well. And like, because you and I have that conversation about how sometimes age gaps can be icky. And especially when like, it's weird because like they have to be like 500 years older or more or like 10 years tops. But this, the dynamic was not what I expected. I thought the dynamic would be a little reversed because of the explanation, but it was unexpected between Josh and Cassie. And Cassie was actually, like, I actually kind of liked her. She wasn't like a, choose me, pick me, love me, or she wasn't dumb or any of that. So I thought that was enjoyable. And their like back and forth the tension was nice.
Yeah, for sure.
And I do think that it's very well written. We oftentimes find ourselves with advanced copies, and sometimes they do have grammatical or spelling errors, and I didn't find that like literally at all in this.
Yeah, I agree. So for me, I'm not like a huge contemporary romance. It's probably like the first one I read, really, other than like our funny ones we read that are like not taken seriously, like Playing by Cthulhu and things like that. But so it was a quick, fun read though, and very, very spicy. There were some times where they were pushing the envelope, and I thought they would get like caught, which
Right.
added a bit of suspense, which is always fun.
I mean, they got caught once in
Yeah,
Florida.
well, yeah, there's that. I think a lot of people would really enjoy this book. I don't think it's
Yes.
bad. It was like fun. It's just not something I would typically read. So it's nothing like against the book, my rating.
No, not at all.
It's just not typically what I'd read, but I think it's a fun read for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The
So what
same
do you
thing.
rate it?
Yeah, although I've moved kind of away from contemporary romances for the same, thought process that you have given us.
Mhm.
It is one that I would recommend to people that do like contemporary romances. I felt like it had, everything that you look for in the contemporary romance genre.
Mhm.
So 3 stars because it really wasn't bad.
Mhm.
4 spice because it was basically just all
It was-
spice all the time. And like 2 eye rolls just because, I mean, it's romance, so.
Yeah, I gave it 3 stars and 4 spice as well, and 2 eye rolls. I didn't really enjoy the whole worship thing.
Mm,
Some people will love it, not my thing. Again, I would recommend it to people who enjoy this type of like contemporary romance,
yeah.
like you were saying. Yeah, and I think it's fun that it's going to be kind of like a series for like people who do enjoy it. I think that'd be really fun. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's definitely worth the read if that's a genre that you're into for sure. The age gap wasn't like gross in my opinion. Like sometimes you read it and you're just like, ugh. I didn't really get that. I didn't really think about it much while I was reading it. Whereas some books, it's just like, oh my god,
Yeah, I
it's like
definitely
all I can
saw
think about is
I
like
saw
the
her side of
age.
the argument for sure. The author, Lizzie. I could
Yeah,
see, yeah.
yeah, and this was done well, and that it's that forbidden romance, so those are always fun. So yeah,
Oh yeah.
it's definitely for if that's what you like you will enjoy this for sure.
Agreed.
Yay.
So the next book that I read this month was Neverwhere by Neil Gaiman. It was 370 pages. It is kind of like a sci-fi fantasy. I don't want to say sci-fi because it wasn't like science fiction, like it technology forward, but like it was
Yeah.
urban, I guess.
Okay.
I got it off of Libby. I've been using the Libby app quite a lot.
Yeah,
I'm so glad
yeah.
I found it.
Yeah, I need to
Because
check it out.
you can get like it'll send the ebook to your Kindle
Mm-hmm.
and you can get an audiobook. So like you can kind of like it's not quite like when you get Audible and the Kindle book because with Audible you can like whisper sync where it like picks up where you left off. It's not quite the same
Yeah.
with Libby, but I mean, it's still cool. So like if I'm like listening to it at work, I can pick it up before
Right.
bed. Yeah.
That's cool. That's cool.
Yeah. So, plot summary. Under the streets of London, there's a world most people could never even dream of. A city of monsters and saints, murderers and angels, knights in armor and pale girls in black velvet. Neverwhere is a London of people who have fallen between the cracks. Strange destinies lie in wait, London below. A world that seems eerily familiar, but a world that is utterly bizarre, populated by unearthly characters such as the angel called Islington, a girl named Dor, and the earl who holds court in a tube train. Now, a single act of kindness has catapulted young businessman Richard Mayhew out of his safe, predictable life and into the realms of Neverwhere. Richard is about to find out more than he ever wanted to know because of this other London, which is a pity because Richard just wants to go home.
Ooh, that sounds fun.
Yeah, so it was okay. So, as Neil Gaiman goes, because I feel like Neil Gaiman is like one of the authors that has the most like TV shows, movies, and all of that produced based on
Right.
his books. This was the opposite. This was originally a TV show that he helped like write, but when things went the way that he didn't want them to go, he was like, I'll just write that in my book instead.
Nice.
Yeah.
I like that.
I like it a lot too. So, I mean, the TV show came out in like the 90s. It does have a very like Doctor Who feel, so it's like a little wonky and like you can definitely tell the age of it. So I didn't watch it. I watched like a episode just to see like if the characters that they chose for the whatever's
Cast or
like
whatever.
right for the cast if like my brain wanted them instead of like just making up somebody, but I mean it was the 90s, so everybody had like puffed sleeves and shoulder pads and yeah. But the world building in this book was like immaculate. I feel like Neil Gaiman is really great with world building where like you you are where he says, like, I wasn't in London below, right?
Right.
And like, I sometimes have a problem with how synopsises go, because like it doesn't give you like the full feeling of exactly what like we're talking about, because like there's creepy things that happen. There's these like two dudes that are trying to murder Dor the entire time. Like there's some revenge plots, there's twists, there's like there's these people that worship rats and can speak to, or like specific people can speak to rats, so they're like higher in society.
Oh.
So like, yeah, it was really cool, and like the whole time I just
Yeah.
wanted to take a shower, but so characters too, like they had fun names, because obviously they're not part of London above, they're London below. So like there was a girl that was called Anesthesia too, like, you know, when you have to go under for surgery, her name was Anesthesia. I'm sure like it was
nice.
supposed to be like Anastasia, but because they're, you know, in the down below, it's Anesthesia. And like Dor is a fun name.
Yeah.
And Marquis de Carabas, that was like he named himself, so that was cool. And like the whole contrast between Richard's boring everyday life to like being thrust into this underground world where like things, like you don't want to say shit, you don't want to like accidentally step on somebody's toes, like they don't take money, they take like trades. Like he was completely out of his element, so that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would 100% recommend this if you're looking for fun, imaginative fantasy adventure. Neverwhere is definitely worth picking up. I will say, the pacing was a little bit like uneven in the beginning. Like it took, I want to say, like a quarter of the book just to get to the underground. So that was a little, but it does ramp up eventually. I will also say that Stardust is far superior. So if you want a fantasy, go with Stardust, but this is a good one too. 4 stars, no spice, no eye rolls.
Nice.
I liked it a lot. Yeah.
It sounds fun. It sounds fun.
I love Neil Gaiman, man.
I know. I still haven't read any of his
I
books.
know.
I need to read one. What should I start with?
Shoot. What was the one that I really, really, really liked in the beginning? American Gods.
American Gods.
It is okay. So it is a time commitment, but so worth it.
Yeah. Well,
we'll get into that later.
Oh, I've been there. Something that's worth it. Let's go. You know. So I started off the month with Threads of Fate by C.A. Blooming, fantasy romance. I started reading it April 27th and finished up on May 5th. So it's 491 pages, and I had it on my Kindle. It was an e-arc, so the author, she sent it to my Kindle. Yeah. So yeah, let's get into it. All Aura wanted was to discover what lie behind the hidden garden door, but when it inadvertently traps her in the land of gods, she finds more than she bargained for. Now stuck in this new world, she must decide if she can unlock the power necessary to get her home. To do so, she will have to reckon not only with the gods threatening her, but also with the darkest parts of herself. Can she make peace with her past, and can she take on an equally terrifying situation, allowing herself to fall in love? Roe never expected the intriguing woman who stumbled into his garden, nor did he expect the fates to call forth the challenge he spent his life running from. While forced to face his birthright, he must also search for a way to return Aura to her own world before her power is detected by the monsters in his. As he strives to get her home, he finds himself questioning if he can, and against his better judgment, if he wants to. Leaning on those closest to him and fighting his own past, Ro must decide if he can accept who he is to help protect those he loves. So when I started this book, I was kind of unsure if I was going to enjoy it. I haven't read a book written in like third person in a really long time, so that took me a minute, but it was okay. I got used to it. But it's like she's in modern day France. She buys a chateau there. Jesus, I can't talk. And then she drops everything and then moves over there to kind of start over after. I mean, her life has been pretty tragic, and you learn that later in the book. She's in her garden, finds a door, opens it, and it's a portal, right? So
Yeah.
and that's that's very easy, short way of putting it. And that's where all the fun begins, if you will. So the more I read it, and started getting into that flow of writing, again, it's been a long time, so I was like, I haven't read one of these in a minute, but I found that the book was actually really fun and exciting. It was a good read. Sometimes it's really hard for me to like FMCs in a lot of books. I mean, you've heard me time and time again, just like, but she did have a lot of trauma, and the more like you learn about her, the more you understand her behavior, you're like, oh, okay. And I actually warmed up to her, which usually, like, if I don't like an FMC to begin with, like, my mind is made. And like, I just can't see past anything if it, but I did warm up to her, which was really nice, because that rarely happens. I'm usually like, ugh, and no, I warmed up to her. I did see a lot of ACOTAR similarities, which is okay, but like, I would have liked something like a little more original. I'm new to fantasy, so this could be like a reoccurring theme in fantasy books. I'm not sure, but there was a god of night and a god of day, spelled different, but
Right.
There was regions named after seasons. It seemed very like, I'm like, now if that's a thing that happens a lot in fantasy, I apologize, I don't know.
In like fairies, it does happen a lot because like they are like courts. So traditionally fairies are subject to whatever court they're part of, spring, summer, whatever.
Okay.
I'm not entirely sure about gods though, but I mean, I could be wrong.
Yeah, so and I just read ACOTAR, so that probably was like, it's like fresh in my brain. I'm like, but the plot and storyline were different. It was just that where I was kind of like, wow, this is a lot like ACOTAR. But I did enjoy the book. The banter and slow burn were well done. The cliffhanger, oof. It made me literally gasp. There's like a really, I didn't see it coming. It happened, and I'm like, oh my god, like, audible.
Right.
So,
Yes, your pearls.
yeah, I was like, no. And she has like a Discord, and I wrote up, or no, I sent her a TikTok I made, and then I wrote how the cliffhanger was rude, and she was like laughing at it. It was just rude. But
how dare you?
Yeah, but this book gets released on June 1st, so I would say I recommend it. It does suck you in. It keeps your interest. The slow burn is amazing. So if you're a fan of a slow burn, I am. You'll definitely enjoy it. There's betrayal and a twist, and I genuinely didn't see it coming, like, at all. Usually,
you can guess.
Yeah, or at least kind of see where it's headed. And with this, I was like, what? So, it did catch me off guard, and I do want to read the next one in the series, for sure. So I gave it 3.5 stars, 1 spice, and 2. It's not very spicy. It's maybe 2. I put 1, but maybe 2. 2 eye rolls, because in the beginning Aura drove me nuts. But I will say, once you learn more about her, you're kind of like, okay. She's been through a lot, so. But you just learn that later on. So in the beginning of the book, you're just annoyed with her. But you learn about her, and it's okay. So
she's the opposite of DM, because in the beginning I loved DM.
Yeah. It's so sad.
Talking about which,
I
then started reading Glow of the Everflame by Penn Cole. Yes. It was 637 pages. It was Kindle Unlimited. These books are an investment, and I'm kind of upset, but we'll get into it.
Yeah.
An unexpected gift offers the power to change everything, but keeping it could cost DM her life. The threat of war has arrived at DM's doorstep, along with new discovery that could save her people. To use it, she must survive the next 30 days by forming a devil's bargain with the people she hates the most, the royal family of House Corbois. But she dives into the world of Descendant Elite. DM quickly realizes good and evil aren't as simple as they seem. Old prejudices are challenged, and new loyalties blur the line between friend and foe. Meanwhile, her mother is still missing, and the secrets she left behind can no longer be ignored. And neither can the Guardians and their demands. Caught between an old flame and a sizzling new spark, DM must confront the truth about who she is and what she wants before time runs out. War is coming, and dangerous enemies wait on all sides. But most deadly battle DM faces may be the one of her heart. Okay. So, while I was reading this, I try to keep your review as far possible from, like, my experience, but I did go back, and we had a very similar experience reading this. I 100% agree with what you had said during your review. DM was so annoying in this book. Like the jumping to conclusions, Matt, is like her, dude.
Yeah.
Like
Nice
if I found myself thrust into this like new world of like supposed enemies, I would try to learn literally every single detail before I did literally anything, right? Like I don't want to just like come in balls blasting and like you guys are don't like no, dude, I want to know what's going on before I like, make any rash decisions.
Absolutely. My gosh.
And like I do see how being thrown into like enemy's territory could for sure create some trust issues, but it just seems like come on.
Yeah.
Also, I really did like Luther in this book. I felt like he was a character of his own in this book. Like he actually had like a backbone, and he was like the perfect book boyfriend of like,
yes,
I support you, but you're being dumb. But yeah, I'm the slowest burn to ever slow burn. It took until book 3, 80% in.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yes.
Yeah, I would recommend reading it because our next book is The Heat of the Everflame, but this was 3.5 stars. 1 spice because there are a few heated moments, but not anything like, penetrating. 2 eye rolls. Because well, actually, I'm gonna revise that. That's gonna be 1 eye roll for every like jumped to conclusion.
Jeez, that's a lot of eye rolls.
I know, dude. DM drive me nuts. Talking about which, next book.
Yeah. So after that, we're gonna get into Heat of the Everflame by Penn Cole, Romantasy. 1,000.
Oh my god, dude.
26 pages, y'all.
We did that. We did it! Hooray!
We did
and
it.
I didn't do audiobook on this one. I did straight reading.
You read it.
Yeah,
me too. It took me forever.
I know. You only read 3 books.
Oh yeah, this one took the bulk of my reading.
To be fair, this is like 4 books in itself.
Yeah, and I'm a slow reader anyways. I'm not a really fast reader, so that doesn't help my situation whatsoever.
You've also had a lot going on or something.
Yeah, we do. If you guys like hear an echo, I'm in a rental house. So our house had a leak. I explained it in the last episode, and it's getting redone. It's getting work done. So they put us in this rental house, and my husband took the kids out. He's like, I'll take them. And I'm like, okay, bye. And so I'm alone in here, but it echoes because we have the computer set up in the living room, blah, blah, blah. Anyways, I'm getting off topic.
Anyway.
I'm really good at that. So I'm going to read the summary. So the war has begun. Both sides demand Diem's allegiance or her death. After her disastrous coronation, Diem finds herself at the center of the conflict between the Descended and the Guardians. With her newfound friends and the man she's falling for on one side, and the mortals she has vowed to protect on the other, Diem must walk a careful line to save the people she loves, even from each other. The mystery of her unusual heritage begins to unravel, sending Diem and Luther on an unexpected journey across the realms. The answers may hold the key to winning the war, but finding them will require her to face painful truths about her mother, her bloodline, and her fate. Meanwhile, the crowns have set Diem in their sights. Some could be her greatest allies, while others want her dead. To end their oppressive reign, Diem must sort friend from foe and risk it all to build an army of her own. But powerful figure in the north has plans that could change everything. Go ahead.
Yeah, so I'm going to put the spoiler warning here because ideally it's the book club book, so you have read it with us. So you can be as angry as we are with this because I mean, okay, I'm not angry. I think it was really well written, I should say. Like it draws you in. It has creative magic systems, world building. The action, although I did think the action was a little overdone personally. Like it shouldn't ever get just a breath, dude.
Yeah.
But Diem was worse in this book. I didn't think that was possible, and her naivety has completely worn off because she has been in this world for a year now.
Yeah,
I want to say at this point. So like your mortality, your mortal life no longer exists. Like, she already got over that part of the challenging, right? Is like, I have to accept myself and then I can have my powers. Okay, bitch. What the fuck?
Yeah. Yeah.
And like, I hate how often she ignored doing the smart decision. Like, she just made poor choices, like, constantly, and she refused to listen to like any reason, Luther. And like, the Umbros Queen was onto something. Like,
Yes.
hey, come talk to me. I got some shit I have to tell you. And like, I get why she's like, no, I gotta go, bye-bye. But like, what, 2 more seconds?
Yeah,
Wouldn't have.
could have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then
You could've-
like, at the very end, she dies before she can tell you. So like,
Oh yeah.
bitch,
Yeah.
come on.
What is going on? So for me, it like pains me to leave this review because I really love the first 2 books.
I know.
And like, DM was a bit much of the second book, yes, but I was able to see past it for the most part. But what happened? Like, she is the worst. She still doesn't listen, makes terrible decisions. Like you were saying, there has been no growth in her character, no lessons learned. Like you would think, after all the mistakes you have made thus far, because you're not listening to people you should. Yes, you think you would, and you still don't listen. So she just fell flat. I found myself like audibly sighing and rolling my eyes at every idiotic decision she made because they were stupid. Like, what are you doing? Listen to Luther. It was driving me nuts.
I was so mad. I was.
Would tell her.
Yeah.
Oh, I was pissed.
I was so
I was pissed. What are you doing? I liked her in the first book, a bit annoyed in the second, and now I like don't like her.
Yeah.
Like, there's no growth. Like, why can't you listen? And I had to be in your brain for over 1,000 pages, bro. Like, you're driving me nuts.
Yeah, I think that's why I'm so critical about it, is that this was such an investment. We've read collectively like over 2,000 pages about this, and then like to be let down in such a way of like, come on, bitch, just why?
I know.
And like, again, I want to say, don't hate the book. I just hate the end. Also, like, I loved Big Bad Luther, right? That he could do badass shit, can like shadow the entire room and like cut off whatever, you know, like he's big. Yeah, he's a badass, and like the entire time he was just following her around like a puppy. Like, why?
Yes. Oh my god. So like, why? I was thinking the same shit. Like, why did your entire personality change to follow Diem and do anything for her, and then that's it? That's
his entire character is
I loved him, and I loved how he was a badass, and he like now it's just like blindly following this dumb girl who don't fucking listen.
Yeah.
No. Like, yeah.
And like, I get that he didn't have his power for like a majority of the time because but still. Hey, stop being a dumb bitch like he did in the first book.
Yeah, he called her ass out.
He did.
Keep calling her ass out.
And he called her out with Henry. So why couldn't he just be like, you know what? Actually, maybe we should kill Vance. Just put that out there. Like,
why? Why did she?
That was one of my biggest eye rolls.
What are you doing? You will run away and never, bitch.
Bitch, you know that shit's gonna wear off.
Never. Oh gosh.
Also, god damn it if this book wasn't 4 times longer than it needed to be.
Yes.
It just kept repeating shit, or it spent so long on one topic that it could have been like wrapped up in like, I don't know, like a paragraph or like a page, not 4 pages of explaining your feelings for Luther and then flip-flopping on it for some reason. Yeah. Like, this could have been a 300-page book and would have been fine.
Yeah. And if I hear one more rant about the mortals, I'm gonna lose my damn mind. Dude, us readers, like, we know.
Yeah,
we can forget.
We get it. Yeah.
The repetitiveness was just not necessary. You don't need to read everything. We already know and read in the first 2 books 100 times. Like, so many pages were just filled with details of things like we already know. So it was almost like a broken record. And I hate that this book just like, right now, I'm just not happy about the series. It's weird though. I'm very torn because I do like the new lands we saw. I like the new characters. I like the new powers. About her father. Holy shit. Love I like him. I'm interested. I want to know where it's going. But now I'm worried. Like, I'm worried. I'm like, I've been searching and I can't find how many pages is the next book, because if it's long as shit, I'm
Because it
gonna
comes
be
out
like,
on July 1st, right?
I thought it was June, but it could be
Oh, it
July.
could
I'm
be
not
June.
sure. I'm not sure, but it's one of those J's. But like,
Those
I
Camp
don't.
J's.
If it's like 1,000 pages, I'm gonna be like, fuck, is it gonna be repeating again? Because I
And it
can't
can.
do that again.
No, I can't.
I like, you don't need to, like, and it's, I hate like trashing this because it just made me so mad, because the first 2 books were so good and there's potential. It's just, why did it keep repeating and repeating and repeat? It's like,
July 1st.
dude, yeah. Okay, July 1st.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
No,
So
I agree with you. Yeah.
It's a tough book
Well,
to
like,
review, because it's like, I don't hate it.
no, I don't hate it either.
At all. But like, what did you do? You know?
What'd you do to my favorite book? No,
What
it wasn't
did
my
you
favorite,
do?
but still.
No, it was up there.
The first one was so good.
So good.
And then the second one I had my qualms with, because obviously, like, we're getting more into, I don't know. Also, sorry, she was raised by the captain of the army or whatever.
Mm.
Shouldn't she make better decisions, like warlike decisions then, since they're like so adamant about how often she trained with him and how, you know?
She's like the #1 healer of all time, and she didn't know Luther was hurt for the long. I mean,
like, dude.
I
Also,
don't know.
that twist of like it being her blood, I was like, bitch, if you would have
Yeah.
been paying attention when you healed
Yeah.
Taryn the first time,
Mhm,
like, you would have
mhm.
fucking known. And then you could have said it on Bros.
There it is.
And there it is.
Pain in my ass.
What is the other thing that like she didn't figure out for the longest time?
I'm not sure.
I don't know.
She's
Or
pissing
like,
me off.
yeah, she pissed me off too.
Well, like the whole Daughter of Forgotten.
Yeah, and then in Mentos there's
Weird.
the Forgotten Land. Well, I wonder what. Maybe we should just go hang out there for a
I
second.
don't know.
Or like,
That's
okay,
weird.
So the whole
That
idea of like
exists.
she has to step on land to get the whatever her powers.
Her powers.
You know, the first thing as soon as I figured that out, I'd make like just a little trip around the world, just real quick,
Yeah.
before I went
Yeah.
back to Lumnos to
Yeah.
like try to figure out how to get my
Yeah,
crown. Oh my god,
Yeah, she's driving me nuts.
she's
Oof. Yeah. So what did you rate it overall?
I gave it 3.5 stars still, because I mean it's a
Yeah. It's
if
so
you
hard.
take DM out of it, it's a good story.
Yeah.
The magic systems, the world building, the gods, the kindred, the Everflame, like being like the old gods, that's such a cool concept. Her father being part of like it is so cool.
Mhm.
It's just
Yeah.
DM ruined it for me. So 3.5 stars. 2 spice, because it is okay. I also want to say something about that too. It is 2 spice. It is a little spicier than the last, like, things that actually happen. However, the scene was not good enough to me to be worth 3 books of pining.
Yeah. It should have been better.
It was a letdown a little bit,
Yeah.
personally.
I wanted it to be like the Ever King.
Yeah, dude.
Like when they finally got
Well,
that
and
was
like
a good one.
he was like, oh, I'm not gonna take you against a tree because I don't want your first time to be against a tree. And then so a bookcase is fine.
Yes.
Like, what?
Way better.
Because we're not in
Way
the open
better.
wild. Okay, cool.
Yeah. I know,
Red.
Yeah.
And then again, one eye roll for each poor decision that DM has made. It is worth a read. I'm just annoyed with her personally.
Yeah. So
What
I
about
gave
you?
it 3 stars. I think I gave the last one 3.5, and I can't give this one. This one's not as good in my opinion. So I gave this one 3 stars. 2 spice. It's not often, but there is one scene in particular that is spicy. I gave it 4 eye rolls, dude. I was so mad and rolling my eyes for real
I know.
at her.
You and I actually finished it on the same day, which is surprising because we don't usually do that often. And
no, you're usually done way before me, and then you're annoyed because I'm taking forever.
At guitar.
Yeah.
I just want to talk about it.
I know. It's coming soon. So don't worry. I just hope the next one isn't as long. I mean, I'll read it. I'll probably read it because I do want to know what happens. I do. God, it's in it's really hard with this book because we just talked a lot of shit, but I still like the story.
Yeah, that's what
It's
I
just
mean.
DM is gonna drive you nuts. Like if she doesn't, what the heck? And I am worried that like I'm gonna see it's like 1,000 pages and I'm gonna be like, come on, because I'm gonna be skimming. I mean, that's what's gonna happen.
I mean, I already skimmed, with this
Yeah,
one.
I did some. I read most of it. Towards the end, I'm like, let's just get to it. Let's just get to it.
I was debating reading the last like 5% personally.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
Glad
no,
I did.
yeah. I hope the last book can save this series. You know, I would never reread it though because of that.
No.
I'm not a big rereader anyways, but like I can see myself rereading some books that I've read, and this would not. I wouldn't even start this series over again because I know I'd get to this. So, anyways, but I do want to see what happens. We'll see if the last book of the series will save it. And you said July 1st. I thought it was June, but I guess it's July 1st. So it'll come out July 1st. And
my birthday month.
Yay, happy. Oh yeah, your birthday month is coming.
Mm-hmm.
Mine's in September. I'm gonna be. Oh, I don't even want to know.
It's on the Friday. It's on Friday, by the way.
Whose?
Yours.
Oh, it's Friday the 13th this year?
Is.
I love when my birthday's on Friday
know,
the 13th.
it's so cool.
It's my favorite. Heck yeah. I'll have to do something. I probably won't do nothing.
No, probably not.
No. When I was younger, I used to do things.
Before children and the heat and, you know.
Yeah, and my Kindle. No. I'll probably be reading.
No, just leave me alone for the day.
So, some more Sarah J. Maas, looks like.
So I read.
All right, let's get into it.
What books are these? I think this is 3 and 4 of the Throne of Glass series. It is Heir of Fire, which was 576 pages. Queen of Shadows was 648. It is obviously romantasy. I heard somewhere that she was marketing it earlier in her life as young adult, which that was a bad choice because it is not young adult. And I'm gonna go through the first synopsis again because literally if I read any other synopsis, it's going to like spoil everything. In a land without magic, where the king rules with an iron hand, an assassin is summoned to the castle. She comes not to kill the king, but to win her freedom. If she defeats 23 killers, thieves, and warriors in a competition, she is released from the prison to serve as the king's champion. Her name is Selena Sardathian. The crown prince will provoke her, the captain of the guard will protect her, but something evil dwells in the castle of glass, and it's there to kill. When her competitors start dying one by one, Selena's fight for freedom becomes a fight for survival and a desperate quest to root out evil before it destroys her world. In book 3 and 4, you get more detail on what the fuck that thing is that is killing all of the competitors. You get more, basically.
Hey.
There isn't, like I said, there isn't much I can tell anyone about the rest of the series aside from the fact that it does go much, much deeper and it gets a whole lot more exciting. There's secrets that are revealed, characters are introduced, characters die, there's twists, turns, and Rowan does beat out Luther for my favorite book boyfriend. Sorry about that. Also, imagine Fourth Wing, but a girl group, just girls, all girls. Oops, all and they're witches. In the Sarah J. Maas universe, witches have iron teeth and iron nails, which they use to like. Oh, it's so cool, dude.
That's so badass.
It's so cool, and they're like all badass, and like they have like these wyverns, like they're dragon riders. And there's a wing leader that has to like decide if are witches created evil or are they like bred or like born evil, or like, so it's like this whole political like hierarchy structure that is so cool. Like, this is what I wish Fourth Ring would have been, and it's only like a fourth of the books. So like the way that the books are structured is that it goes from like Selena to Dorian, who is the prince, Cole, who is the captain guard, and Manon, who is the witch. So it goes between these 4 characters throughout the entire book, and so good, dude.
It sounds so good.
There's possessions, there's demons, there's pirates, there's courtiers, and there's fae that turn into beasts. Looking at you, Akatar. And like it really is interesting when you listen to one story during the day. So I was listening to Throne of Glass during the day, and I was reading the Everflame at night, and you see the difference between like female main characters, and you're like, oh,
Yeah.
I like Selena a whole lot more.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah.
There is a lot of similarities between Selena and DM. Like, there's even a point of like the prince being "Don't touch me," or "Don't touch me like that," which was interesting because I read it like within a day of each other, which was
You're like, oh,
for completely different reasons,
familiar.
by the way.
Yeah. Yeah.
And where like DM will second guess herself, Selena does, but in like a way where she's like, "Well, shit, I already made the decision, so I guess I have to go forward with this."
Yeah.
I love Selena.
Yeah.
She's so cool.
Yeah. That's exciting.
Yeah. I mean, I don't want to like, hey, you should read it, Stephanie, because then like you have to finish ACOTAR 3 and 4 and 5. I didn't read 4. And then you have to get through 1 and 2 of Throne of Glass because okay, they are slow. And they take a long time to like, well, they're not.
Are they slow though? Because everyone says like, okay, did you think ACOTAR was slow the first book?
No, I loved ACOTAR the first book.
I was gonna say because people are like, it's boring in the beginning. I'm like, no, the hell it isn't. I was into it.
If I didn't have like the, what do you call it? Like my friend Ashley, she read them all and she's actually rereading them again. If I didn't have that like companion to be like, hey, how far have you gotten? Did you read them all yet? Where are you? I probably would have stopped at book 1, but I would have been so remiss because 3 and 4 are like 5-star books.
Is it just a lot of introductions and that's why they're a little slow?
Yeah, and then like I don't really care about her assassin background personally. I mean, it's important, but like once you get into the big world, trying to defeat the big evil, it kind of like the beginning. The first book is basically like small, I guess. Like you're trying to defeat the evil that exists in the castle, whereas the other books are like trying to defeat this big bad evil of like trying to take over the world. And like, oh my god, there's these,
I want to read them.
There's these scary like creatures, and there's these like they're trying to interbreed, and oh, so good.
Oh man. Yeah, I'll be reading them, dude, for sure. With your reaction being like that, yes, please.
And like I miss them when I'm done, which is like the biggest thing, right? Is like when you're done with a book and you're like, oh fuck, what's Selena doing?
What's she up to?
What's baby boy Cole doing?
Oh,
or Kale or Cole? I don't know. I don't know. Fantasy has weird names.
Yeah, I know. I just do it how I do it.
Yeah. Shimna.
So, what are their ratings?
I give them both 5 stars. Yeah, 3 and 4 are 5 stars. I'm currently reading the 5th one. It's not quite as good as those two, personally, but like that's where the spice is. Like it actually has, you know. So you have to wait 5 books until you get it.
I mean, if the story's good enough, it is what it is.
There's like the character that like doesn't exist in the books, but he pre-exists, and you're just so sad the entire time.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah,
I'm gonna have to check it out.
Eventually, like, I'm gonna need another bookshelf, but I would like to get like the box set of ACOTAR and then like the box set of Throne of Glass and put it somewhere.
Yeah, have a mass shelf.
Yeah,
a mass shelf.
Source. Yeah, mass.
Yeah. Mesh shelf. That's awesome though, dude. That's so cool.
I love him so much. And like at first I was like, why does she like these so much? And then you get into it and you're like,
there it is. Yeah. Now I'm excited for him. So
yeah, you just have to get through. I'm gonna try to reread. Well, not reread, but I'm gonna be on the plane. I'm gonna be in a car. I want to like go back and listen to the ACOTAR.
Automobiles. Yeah, for sure.
So, what are you currently reading?
Nothing, because I finished Heat of the Everflame.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Today, but I am so excited because I am going to start A Court of Wings and Ruin tonight. Yep, I'm pretty excited to get back into ACOTAR because I have missed it very much, and I want to know what's gonna happen. It's been a long wait, so I'm
It
ready.
has been, dude.
Dude,
I'm
it's
so
been
upset.
forever. It
No,
took
I'm
me
just
so long to
kidding.
read that. No, I'm ready though. I'm ready tonight. It starts tonight.
So
What are you-
July is going to be our Oops All Akatar.
Yeah. It'll be July for sure.
Yeah.
What are you reading right now? Oh, well, you just said you're reading
Empire of Storms,
book 5.
book
Yeah.
5. But I do feel like we've kind of been in the Massiverse for a while. Not to mention that I have like 3 more. Okay, so I might skip one of the books in this one as well.
Okay.
Because, okay, so Empire of Storms and Tower of Dawn, they are companion reads, so you can read them at the same time. You just have to like find like the there's like a document
I
that
heard
gives you
about those.
yeah.
But I heard you could just read them.
You can just read them straight. And
Yeah.
but what is this one? Empire of Storms is Selena and Dorian and the witch Manon. Whereas Tower of Dawn is Kale. So I'm
You're not
not
gonna read Tower of Dawn.
I don't think so, because I'm not entirely like I'm not 100% interested in like I just want the story to continue instead of like going back and figuring out what he's doing. So I'll probably just like I hope Ashley's not listening, but I'll probably just mark notes that one like we did with
Ironflame.
yeah.
Yeah. I get that for sure.
But with that being
Why
said,
did she do it? Why did she do it that way?
what do you mean? I don't know how her brain works.
Kind of makes it. I mean, I guess that's fun.
I mean, yeah, I think splitting it up makes it easy because otherwise it would have been like 2,000 pages of book that we've seen with being so successful with another author. But
yeah.
I do see it because it does bring in like a whole different continent and like kings, queens, healers, all of those. So you're introduced to like a different continent and how their realm works, but I'm just gonna smart notes it.
Yeah, not a bad idea. Not a bad idea at all.
I do think that you and I have had our feet in the Maasiverse for like 3 months now. So let's maybe pivot what our June read so it's more into folk horror, so both of us have like some enjoyment.
Yes. Folk horror sounds like a lot of fun. You sent me a couple videos with some recommendations, so we decided June's read with S&B will be Ghost Wall by Sarah Maas. Not to be confused with Sarah J. Maas. Okay? I know we're not straying too far, but it's a totally different book, I promise. Okay. So and then I'll go ahead and give the synopsis to everybody, see if y'all want to read it with us. So in the north of England, far from the intrusions of cities, but not far from civilization, Sylvie and her family are living as if they are ancient Brighton. Is it? I'm sorry.
Britons.
Is it Britons?
I think so, yeah.
Okay. Surviving by the tools and knowledge of the Iron Age. For 2 weeks, the length of her father's vacation, they join an anthropology course set to reenact life in the simpler times. They are surrounded by forests of birch and rowan. They make stew from foraged roots and hunted rabbit. The students are fulfilling their coursework. Sylvie's father is fulfilling his lifelong obsession. He has raised her on stories of early man, taken her to witness rare artifacts, recounted time and again their rituals and beliefs, particularly their sacrifices to the bog. Mixing with the students, Sylvie begins to see, hear, and imagine another kind of life, one that might include going to university, traveling beyond England, choosing her own clothes and food, and speaking her mind. The ancient Britons built ghost walls to ward off enemy invaders, rude barricades of stakes topped with ancestral skulls. When the group builds one of their own, they find a spiritual connection to the past. What comes next but human sacrifice? Man, that sounds so good.
Dude, so while you're reading that, I'm like, remember when I was asking for a recommendation based on song? This sounds like it, right?
This is it. Yeah, I was thinking that too. Yeah, for sure.
Okay, so it is only 146 pages, which is a nice break from the behemoths that we have been reading.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, it's not on Kindle Unlimited, but I hope everybody joins us anyway.
Yeah, I think it's $9.99 I saw.
Yeah.
on the Kindle
Unless
if
you
you
go
want
to
to buy
the
it.
Libby app. Whoop, whoop. Just
Oh
kidding.
yeah, you can do that too.
Yeah.
Whoop, whoop.
But we would love to hear from you, our dear listeners. If you have recommendations for us, feel free to hit us up on social media or leave a comment on our YouTube. We're trying to be a little more active on TikTok. We've had a little bit of a bump in the road with somebody. No, I'm just kidding.
No, yeah, me. It's me. Hi. Absolutely, and of course, a huge thank you to all of you for joining us on this literary adventure. That's all for today. I'm your co-host Stephanie,
And I'm Bekk.
and this has been Novelty with S&B. See you in the next chapter.